The Roman Empire. For 5 centuries, it was the engine of the Western world, a civilization defined by the Pax Romana, the rule of law, and the might of the legions. But the weakness of Rome was never its enemies at the gates. It was the man sitting on the throne. Absolute power does not just corrupt, it reveals. And in the long history of the Caesars, the purple toga was worn by men who were not just bad rulers, but monsters. History usually asks, who was the greatest? Today, we descend into the abyss. We ask, who was the worst? We have selected the 4 most notorious villains of the Roman archives. We are pitting them against one another in a tournament of ruin. Semi-final 1. The madness of the Julio Claudians, Caligula versus Nero. Semi-final 2. The decay of the imperial soul, Elagabalus versus Commodus. Who destroyed the most norms? Who spilled the most blood? And who, ultimately, broke the empire? Let the games begin. In the first bracket, we examine the rot within Rome's first dynasty. In the red corner, Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, known to the legions as Little Boots or Caligula. Ruling from 37 to 41 AD, his reign is a case study in unbridled sadism. Ancient sources like Suetonius describe a man whose cruelty was a form of entertainment. After a mysterious illness in 37 AD, the beloved prince became a tyrant. He didn't just kill his rivals, he humiliated them. He famously forced fathers to attend the executions of their sons, then invited them to dinner, joking while they choked back tears. He wasted the treasury on impossibilities, building a 3-mile pontoon bridge across the Bay of Baiae just to ride a horse across it and defy a prophecy. He declared himself a living god, replacing the heads of statues of Jupiter with his own. He was a terrifying, capricious psychopath. In the blue corner, Nero, the artist, the matricide, ruling from 54 to 68 AD. Where Caligula was malicious, Nero was spectacularly negligent. He murdered his mother, Agrippina the Younger, in a boat accident that failed, requiring a messy execution. He kicked his pregnant wife, Poppaea, to death in a fit of rage. And then, 64 AD, the Great Fire. While the myth that he fiddled is likely false, the truth is darker. He used the devastation of the city not to rebuild for the people, but to seize a massive tract of land in the city center for his Domus Aurea, the Golden House. To deflect blame, he scapegoated a small sect called the Christians, turning them into human torches to light his garden parties. The verdict: Caligula was terrifying to those in the same room as him, but his reign lasted less than 4 years. The bureaucracy continued, the borders held. He was a flash flood, destructive but brief. Nero, however, ruled for 14 years. He emptied the treasury, alienated the military, and forced the suicide of his most capable generals, like Corbulo. His death ended the Julio Claudian dynasty and plunged Rome into the year of the 4 emperors, a civil war that nearly destroyed the state. For causing structural, dynastic collapse, Nero wins the round. Our second semi-final moves forward nearly 2 centuries to an empire already beginning to fray. First, Elagabalus, a 14-year-old high priest of Assyrian sun god, Elagabal. Thrust onto the throne in 218 AD by his scheming grandmother, he was the ultimate cultural shock. Elagabalus had no interest in being Roman. He replaced Jupiter Optimus Maximus with his foreign rock, the Black Stone of Emesa. He married a Vestal virgin, a crime against religion punishable by death, just to prove he could. He was sexually fluid, notoriously asking physicians for a sex change operation, and treated the throne as a backdrop for his personal scandals. He was an affront to Roman dignitas. Opposing him is Commodus, the man born in the purple, the son of the philosopher king Marcus Aurelius. He inherited the empire in 180 AD at its absolute zenith. The treasury was full, the borders were secure, and he threw it all away. Commodus retreated into a fantasy world where he was the reincarnation of Hercules. He famously entered the arena as a gladiator 735 times, according to some sources. He slaughtered ostriches, giraffes, and crippled citizens for sport, charging the state 1,000,000 sestertii for every appearance. He renamed Rome Colonia Commodiana. He renamed the Senate, the legions, and the months of the year after himself. The verdict: Elagabalus was a bizarre, offensive teenager who ruled for only 4 years before his own grandmother had him assassinated. He was a scandal, but ultimately a sideshow. Commodus is a different beast. He inherited a golden age and left a rust belt. He purged the Senate of its best administrators and allowed corruption to rot the military command. He turned the emperor from a first citizen into a despot. For squandering the greatest inheritance in human history, Commodus wins the round. Here we stand. The final judgment. Nero, the man who killed his dynasty. Commodus, the man who killed the peace of Rome. Nero was a narcissist. He drained the coffers and persecuted the innocent. But, and this is critical, the empire functioned under Nero. His generals secured the frontiers. His governors kept the peace. The machine was strong enough to survive the operator. Commodus is the true turning point. The contemporary historian Cassius Dio, who sat in the Senate and watched Commodus play fight in the arena, wrote the ultimate condemnation. He said that upon the death of Marcus Aurelius, Rome turned from a kingdom of gold to one of iron and rust. Commodus ruled for 12 years, long enough to dismantle the meritocracy that made Rome great. He promoted favorites like Caligula, who sold public offices to the highest bidder. He broke the bond between the emperor and the Senate, shifting power entirely to the military, a mistake that would lead to the crisis of the 3rd century, where emperors were murdered and replaced dozens of times in a few decades. Nero lit a fire that burned a city. Commodus lit a fire that burned the future. Nero was a disaster. Commodus was an apocalypse. He took the apex of Western civilization and pushed it off a cliff. The bracket is closed, but history is always open for debate. Did Caligula's sheer insanity deserve the crown? Or perhaps the incompetence of Honorius? Tell us who you would put in the Hall of Shame in the comments below.